நம்ம நக்கீரன் டிவியோட தொடர்ந்து இணைந்திருக்க பெல் சிம்பிளை கிளிக் பண்ணுங்க.
என் ஃபேமிலி பேக்ரவுண்ட் ஆச்சு தெலுங்கு. நான் பிளேஸ் ஆஃப் பர்த் ஆச்சு சென்னை. அந்த தினத்தில் சென்னப்பட்டினம்னு சொல்லலாம். நான் இப்போ வேலை பண்ணுறது டெல்லியில். நான் படித்தது ஹைதராபாத் நிசாம் இஸ்லாமிக் இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸில். அங்கே நான் ஸ்கூல் எஜுகேஷன் பண்ணேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் டெல்லி போயிட்டேன். டெல்லி போயிட்டு இப்போது பார்லிமெண்ட்டுக்கு வந்தாச்சு கல்கட்டாலேருந்து. ஸோ நான் யாரை சொல்லுங்க, அதுக்குதான் அந்த ஆன்சர் கலைஞர் தான் கொடுக்கணும். இது யார் என்ன, யூஆர் அன் இந்தியன், அதுதான் அந்த ஐடென்டிட்டி. அது இருக்க வேறு ஐடென்டிட்டி ஒன்றும் இல்லை. அந்த ஐடென்டிட்டி தானே இப்போ இந்த that is the one that is under tremendous threat that is there today. It is that identity called Indian. And I remember with Kalaignar and his contributions over the decades, we have all heard 60 years in the assembly, and what is will be written in golden letters much later is, I think there is a very few editors in the world. I don't remember any other editor of any other newspaper who for 75 years will daily write the editorial for Marusoli and continue bringing it out in its 75th year, and I don't think there is any other editor that I have come across. Yes, and he's written his scripts jocularly because of my long association with him. Very senior leader, I've always respected him. And one quality he had was he was very fond of youngsters and would always encourage youngsters. And I remember once when I came to Chennai, he was not in Chennai, because normally when I come to Chennai, I pay my respects to him. So I telephoned him and he said he is somewhere in the Nilgiris, he is writing a script for a film. So I said, very good, that means there is no political crisis in Tamil Nadu or in India. If Kalaignar is writing a script, that means everything is well, he is having everything under control. So from writing dialogues and scripts and changing the character of Tamil cinema, to bringing Tamil as a classical language, reviving the classical literature of Tamil, organizing the World Tamil Conference in Coimbatore, for which he insisted that I should come. And I came, and I couldn't catch the flight from Chennai to Coimbatore, so he sent his helicopter to bring me there. And I went there. I said, why are you doing for this? I mean, I'm hardly a great contributor to literature, to Tamil literature. He said, no. The world has to know that Tamil is not a language only for the Tamilians. Tamil is a language which has wisdom for the whole of humanity, and that is something that has to be conveyed to the whole world. And that was the universal spirit of Kalaignar. And in this contributions that he made to literature, to art, culture, stands out the contribution he made to Indian politics and to what India means. And that is why when I'm here to pay my respects on his 94th birthday, wishing him a very long life and future association and guidance for our country's greater stability and unity. I'm here because he symbolizes, in a sense, what India should mean and what India must mean for all of us. And along with all this, he had a very big political agenda that he set in the country. Yes, we had a lot of times when we would disagree with him, but why the disagreement? He stood for the four fundamental pillars or the foundational pillars of the Indian Constitution, and that is secular democracy, social justice, economic self-reliance, and federalism. On these four principles, there was no compromise with Kalaignar so far in his life, and I'm sure there will not be any compromise, and he will continue to build the future of India only on the basis of these foundational pillars. But how to achieve them? Yes, there have been times when there were differences, but whenever there was a critical situation, your Salem steel plant, when that was sought to be privatized, Kalaignar, as a member of the ruling coalition of the center, he said nothing doing, I will not allow it, And while we were struggling, our comrades were struggling through the unions in Salem, you also had the support of Kalaignar coming in and saying that we will not allow this privatization to go on. So there are many such issues that are there where he made his contribution. But today there is a very major challenge where his wisdom, his experience and his contribution is necessary and it's needed. When we started this meeting today, there were very dark clouds on top of this pandal. But at the end of the dark clouds, there was also the silver lining. And that silver lining was showing that like the dark clouds will be dispersed only if the silver lining of all these parties that come together and all the Indian patriots come together. Indian patriots come together to safeguard India today, and that is what we are saying. This morning, I had been to the Apollo hospital to see that IIT student who was beaten up because he had, on the entire controversy of your eating of beef or not. என்ன சொல்ற நீங்கள் தமிழ்ல மது RSS அரசியல் இல்ல அதுதானே மது RSS அரசியல் எப்படி வராது இங்க தமிழ்நாட்டில் எப்படி வருது I mean யார் என்ன சாப்பிடுவாங்க I mean what who will eat what who will dress how who will befriend whom all these are now going to be decided by private armies. You have a private Gorakshak Samiti that will decide target Dalits, target Muslims, target the left, and that is what they are doing. Private armies are taking over this country. You have anti-Romeo squads. If they want a squad, private army for moral policing, I don't know why they want to bring disrepute to Shakespeare and call them anti-Romeo. So poor Shakespeare is being brought in disrespect of the process. That's a separate matter. But you have these private armies that are being set up, and this is a private arm that is actually running this country or imposing its code. Today what is happening? They say that this is a corruption-free government. All the public sector units in our country have now been ordered by the government to spend crores of rupees, thousands of crores of rupees to celebrate the 3rd anniversary of the Modi government at the center. The corruption and crony capitalism of the highest order is what we are seeing. And you've heard just now from the other leaders how the youth who were promised 2 crore jobs every year, there's actually a decline in your employment, a fall in industrial employment. Your Rega is being denied. Government itself goes to the Supreme Court and says 20,000 crores of rupees every year we are not paying as wages to people who already work. The government goes to the Supreme Court and says more than 12,000 farmers are committing suicides every year of these last 3 years of this Modi government. Your Annadata commits suicides. Your Tamil Nadu farmers came to us in Delhi, to the parliament, carrying white rats, saying we cannot eat anything except these rats, and the drought has virtually completely decimated and devastated agriculture here. No relief for your farmer, no relief for your youth, and only creating these tensions and divisions in the country for political polarization, for the petty political benefit of one political party, destroying the unity and integrity of our country. That is the challenge. And if that is the challenge that we have to meet, we need to meet the challenge by unitedly coming together and strengthening the people's struggles against the policies of these governments. Politics is not arithmetic. 2 and 2 in arithmetic can be 4, but 2 and 2 in politics can be made into 22 if you go to the people and strengthen the struggles, and through that change the political discourse in our country, and that is the change that we need to do today. That is why we need Kalaignar and his advice and his guidance and his leadership. There are many instances. I was very fortunate to continue to be associated with Dr. Kalaignar, and I remember in 1996, United Front government. and Devagowda ji was deposed as the Prime Minister. So in the night we had to decide who will be the new Prime Minister, and that meeting was in the Andhra Bhavan in Delhi. It went on till 4 o'clock in the morning. Kalaignar was there. Suddenly in between, he suddenly said, Sitaram, இந்த டென்ட்ல வில்லன் நீதான். அந்த நான் எப்படி கலைஞர், நீதான் சண்டை போடுறேன் எல்லார்கிட்ட. நான் எப்படி சண்டை போடுறேன், நான் என்ன பண்ணேச்சுன்னா, அந்த எனக்கிட்ட நீ தமிழில் பேசுகிற, ஜோதி பசு கிட்ட நீ பெங்காலியில் பேசுகிற, சுர்ஜித் கிட்ட நீ ஹிந்தியில் பேசுகிற, சந்திரபாபு கிட்ட நீ தெலுங்குல பேசுகிற. ஸோ யாருக்கிட்ட என்ன பேசுகிறோம் யாருக்கும் தெரியாது. அதுக்கு தான் நீ தான் வில்லன். கலைஞர் இப்படி இருக்கு. ஸோ கலைஞர் had a great sense of humor also. So he finally said, and then we all agreed on Dr. Gujral being the Prime Minister, and that was over. But he has a sense of humor which was reflected in all his scripts of the films, and I'm sure we require that sense of humor in today's politics also, so that we can really take on this fight. But finally, I'd only end with one point. Once he asked me, பசங்கள் இருக்கா உங்களுக்கு? அப்போது என்னதான் எல்டஸ்ட் பசங்கன்னா பொண்ணு தான் இருக்கு, பொண்ணு இருக்கு கலைஞர்னு சொல்லேன். பேர் என்ன? அகிலான்னு நான் சொன்னேன். என்ன பசங்க பேர் என்ன தெரியும்? ஸ்டாலின் தெரியும் கலைஞர். என்ன கம்யூனிஸ்ட் லீடர் யாருன்னு இருக்கா? அவங்க பசங்க பேர் ஸ்டாலின் போட்டாச்சு, நான் போட்டாச்சு ஸ்டாலின் பேர். உங்கள்கிட்ட பெரிய கம்யூனிஸ்ட் நான் தான். And he was trying to tell me. Periyar Annadurai, if he had not come into contact with him, he always claimed that he would have been a communist leader. That's anyway, separate issue. That is, I'm not going into it. But remember, when he named Thiru Stalin as Stalin, that was the time when the world was fighting fascism and the Second World War. Hitlerite fascism, Mussolini's fascism, your Japanese fascism, and the coalition of the fascist forces. And when the coalition of the fascist forces were finally defeated, the flag that flew on Hitler's parliament in Reichstag in Berlin, announcing his defeat to the whole world, was not the American flag, was not the French flag, was not the British flag. It was the Soviet red flag under Stalin's leadership in Moscow at that point of time. That defeated the fascist army, and that was the flag that was hoisted. So the name Stalin has a lot of responsibility, sir. So, and in today's condition, if that task have to be done, then we have to first of all go to the people, together jointly strengthen the people's struggles, and through that process build up this alternative. And I think Kalaignar's advice would be forthcoming to all of us. He'll continue to remain to guide us and for many more years, and that is what is required, and we will protect the India that he stood for, he wanted, he cherished, and he will see that India under his own guidance that will continue to give us after his 94th birthday, and we will all together meet this challenge, because if we cannot save India, then there is no point in any one of us sitting together on the dais today. India has to be saved, India has to be changed into a better India, and that is what I think the best greetings to Kalaignar on his birthday, our commitment that we can all give him, that we are determined to save India and change India for the better. Thank you. Thank you.